What is going on, Tentacrew? My name is Billy the Squid, and today, now that I am refueled, I want to bring you guys another tier list. So I have some other, more interesting tier lists in the works, but for now, I kind of want to get a base layer of the standard shit that any content creator maining a series would go to. So today, we are going to go into the Soulsborne Bosses, ranking them from best to worst. And yeah, let's just get into it. So this list compiles all of these Soulsborne bosses into a big amalgamation of bullshit. Does this have Demon Souls? Where's the Demon Souls boss? Show me the Demon Souls boss. Wow, there's a lot of fucking bosses in these games. This also goes through all the DLCs as well. No, as a matter of fact, this does not have Demon Souls bosses. Give me 1 second to find a better tier list. This one is shit. Alright, let's make sure this one is good. Yep, right there they are. There they are, Mr. Penetrator himself with the big peen. Let's go. Okay, we are good to go now. So, this is going to be all of the bosses, and this tier list actually has the Sekiro bosses thrown in there as well, so fuck it! We're doing Sekiro bosses too. So this is the Soulsborne Sekiro boss tier list according to me. Now this isn't taking into consideration difficulty. This is taking into consideration basically my overall fun factor with these enemies and how I enjoy them and how I think they either add or take away from the game respectively. So this might be a little bit of a longer one. I'm going to keep it as short-winded as possible per boss. But without further ado, let's jump on into it, shall we? So starting off the list, we're just going to go in the order that they are here, which starts with Bloodborne bosses from the looks of it. We have the One Reborn. One Reborn, big pile of bullshit. He is everything I hate in a large enemy boss. There's quite a few bosses in these series that are just like a mass of bullshit that just kind of flails around. And this one adds to that mass of bullshit by having a bunch of old women with candlesticks shooting fireballs at you. So yeah, this is not a banish, but this is definitely a C tier in my opinion. It's an easy boss once you figure out how to do chain stagger, because it has a million limbs and they can all be broken, because that was one of the cool systems Bloodborne introduced. But yeah, this boss is kind of garbage. Moving on. The Celestial Emissaries. Gank boss, I don't mind this boss as much as a lot of people do. I think it's neat that it takes a common enemy and it gives kind of a hide-and-seek mechanic to it. I think the gimmick is cool. I am one of the people that actually enjoys gimmick bosses, and this is a gimmick boss that kind of keeps the gimmick going. I feel like a good gimmick boss isn't boring or annoying even after you figured out the gimmick. This one, you kind of still have to work for it and find out which one is the boss one. And then it grows big and it's an actual threat. So I think it's good. I think it's B. Ebritas, Daughter of the Cosmos. Man, do I have some things to say about Ebritas. I think it's an amazingly made boss. I think it should have been one of the endgame bosses. I am also of the mindset that this should have replaced Moon Presence as the final boss of the game. I think it is a good level of challenge and also fun factor. There's a few moves that are a little bit bullshit, but if you're on a fully leveled build, none of them are going to one-shot you necessarily, except for the laser beams. But just run to the side. It's that easy, guys. Just run to the fucking side every time I watch somebody go into this boss. And it might be their first time, and they don't know any better. But, guys, if you're fighting Ebritas, and she does, like, ooh, and you see little, like, stars starting to pop up, just run to the side. They'll miss you every time. Don't worry. So, for her, she is right in between A to S tier. I might move these around as we go, depending, but she's at least a solid A. Amygdala, another kind of gimmick boss fight, but this one is more of a traditional boss with a gimmick mechanic, just in the fact that you can't really damage its legs. You have to wait for it to attack to hit its arms and head. Overall, the boss is a little bit boring, though, and one-dimensional. It's got a few interesting moves, like the laser beam and the snot, and then once you get it down to about 30% health, its moveset completely changes. There are a few weird hitbox issues with this one, so I don't rank it as highly as, say, Abradus, but it's definitely a solid boss, in my opinion. Mikolash. Boy, this guy is somebody that I dislike all together. It's an interesting idea in concept, but it is very poorly executed. The first stage is fine. I don't mind the, like, chase mechanic. It's when you get to that second stage and it forces you to drop into the area. 9 times out of 10, he's going to do a Call from Beyond, and that spell is bullshit altogether. For that move alone, he is C-tier, borderline banished to the Shadow Realm. I think the game could have done this boss fight a lot better. I really want to reserve these for garbage bosses. I might actually just make it one boss per game for the banished to the Shadow Realm. Let me look at the other Bloodborne bosses and see. Yeah, no. Mikolash gets banned to the Shadow Realm. That's what I'm going to do. One boss per franchise gets banished to the Shadow Realm. If I had to remove a boss from the game, it would be ya boy Mikolash. Lore-wise, he's great. The boss fight has a lot of potential. It is just horribly executed and unfun. Murgo's Wet Nurse. A very good boss by design. Lots of good skills. For the placement in the game, it is not the best. For a boss that could potentially be your last boss of the game, I'm not sold on it. Regardless, I very much enjoy fighting this boss. It goes up there with Abradus, even if its difficulty factor for where it is in the game is not all there. Gehrman, the First Hunter, he's just everything you would want in a NPC-size boss encounter. He is difficult, he has varied moveset, he actually makes use of the transformed weapons very well, he has Hunter's Tool. It feels like you are fighting the OG Hunter, and they did a great job with it. So he is going to be our first S-tier boss of the thing. Moon Presence. I said before that I would like to have swapped Moon Presence and Abradus. Moon Presence just doesn't do it for me. It just feels like the dragon dude from Dark Souls 3 Oseros, but easier because it doesn't have a huge health pool. It's got a few cool spells that I didn't know it had until I was doing level 1 runs, because the boss was always dead before I realized that it could do those. So it can like summon like blood meteors and shit from the sky. I didn't know that. The only move I knew that it did other than just flailing violently at you was the move that does an AoE that puts you down to 1 HP that you can then walk up and just rally all of your health back while it's stunned for a year. So this is a C tier boss. It's very poor done for a hidden final boss. They could have done better. They could have done way better. Ludwig the Accursed. I am bad at Ludwig the Accursed, and I feel like a majority of people are bad at Ludwig the Accursed. That being said, he's amazing. He has so many moves in both forms. It is extremely well done, and for a lead-off boss for a DLC, he really sets the tone for what to expect. I think Ludwig deserves rightfully an S-tier spot. And I think this is going to be a common theme that you're going to see from Software DLCs, is the DLC bosses are choice. Moving on. Living Failures. They don't really do anything for the game. I feel like they could have been removed and nothing would have been lost. That being said, there's nothing inherently wrong with them. It's just a bunch of dudes that you kill and then more pop up out of the flowers, and once you kill enough of them, they stop spawning. I don't know why that's the mechanic. I wanted them to do something more with like the big flower in the middle, but they didn't, and it's a C tier. Cleric Beast, for the first optional boss of the game, and most of the time the first boss that people will fight and die to. it's very well done. It's a very good intro to the game. I feel like they did well. Like I said, you can completely skip this boss. If you didn't know any better, you're going to walk into the arena and think that it's the first boss of the game. It's not as easy as other tutorial bosses. Bloodborne doesn't do anything easy, but I think it's a very well done fight. I think it is baseline average B. Maria of the Astral Clock Tower. Now this is an NPC boss that I have a special place in my heart for. She is my favorite thematic boss of the game. I like her very, very much. My only issues with her being that she's kind of a parry magnet, and given where she is in the DLC and what has come before her with Ludwig, she's a bit on the easier side just because of the lower health pool. That being said, difficulty doesn't equal my ratings, okay? So she's S tier just because of the varied moveset she does. She has 3 different phases. It really amps up the intensity. Yes, she's a bit on the easy side, but I think for a DLC and for what they wanted to do, they executed it perfectly. And then you have the Orphan of Cause. Most likely the hardest boss From Software has ever made, arguably. I am going to put it at A tier. Now, the reason I'm going to put it at A tier is because while it is extremely difficult and I feel like it is extremely well done, there are a few instances where I feel like this boss has some buggy mechanics with its movement. It has hyper movement, and I feel like some of its tracking is just unfair at times. That being said, there's still some cheese factors you can do with it, but cheese aside, I think it is a very solid boss. It is definitely the hardest boss in my opinion, but I don't think it has the flourish that these ones do to really keep it like up there with them. My opinion. Lawrence the First Vicar, the optional boss of the DLC. Kind of shit, in my opinion. It's just a rebranded Cleric Beast with some fire effects and a second phase where it crawls around with a big lava pool. The second phase doesn't do anything for me. It's blatantly unfair with some of its hitboxes. I'm borderline willing to banish this guy to the Shadow Realm. Just because it didn't have a place. It didn't need to be there. But for now, we're going to keep it on C tier. I might banish it later if this stuff starts filling up. If we fill up the list here, I'll just start moving shit down or around or whatnot. We'll see how it goes. Anyways. Father Gascoigne, the true first boss of the game, and another very well done and iconic NPC fight that inversely turns into a beastly fight, and a difficult one it is. This one kind of gets you used to the parry mechanic. I feel like it is a good use of all of the systems that Bloodborne wants you to do, both in what you need to do and what he does to you. He basically is you, if you were to take the Hunter's Axe and Shotgun. It's very well done. It is very well done. I am going to put him at S tier, just because he really sets the tone for what you want to do with the game. There's a few cheese tactics you can do with him, but he is very, very fun. Bloodstarved Beast. Most people's get good moments. This is another technically optional boss. If you wanted to buy the key to open the gate, you don't have to fight him. I love fighting this boss. A lot of people don't like fighting this boss. It's got different stages that kind of just ramp up the aggression level. There's nothing really special about him, but I feel like he is quite good, and I'm going to put him at A tier. Vicar Emilia, the DPS test in my personal get good moment with the game. When I first played through the game, this one was the one that hung me up quite a bit. She's very good, a lot of fun moves, a little bit erratic, hard to predict what she's going to do when you're up close on her. The noises she makes are horrendous, stuff that I have only heard in horror or porn movies. We are going to put her at B tier just because she's solid, but I feel like they did a little bit wrong with some of her stuff. Mainly the hitboxes, the fact that she can heal, I don't think she needs that because she's already got so much health to begin with at that stage of the game. B tier. Witches of Hemwick, a boring gimmick boss once you figure out the mechanics to it. The witches are not the actual things walking around, yet little old ladies that are invisible. None of this boss is unique. They are all recycled assets from the rest of the game. I'm going to banish this one to the Shadow Realm as well, just because it does nothing for the game. And the gimmick, once you figure it out, it's just monotonous to be able to get your rune gem. So, Shadows of Yharnam, gank bosses. I don't think very highly of gank bosses. Most gank bosses are pretty garbo in my opinion. This one, more so than a lot of them. I'm going to put it C tier. It's, again, recycled assets, kind of. They do have a transform that gives them, like, little snake abilities that are unique to them specifically. But at the end of the day, it's a recycled boss that you'll be fighting regular versions of later. A gank boss, which doesn't play off, like, none of them play off of any of the other ones' moves. It's poorly done. Rom the Vacuous Spider, another gimmick boss, and one that is loathed or loved. It's very polarizing on this one. I'm going to put it at B tier. I don't mind this boss too much. It is quite annoying to get one-shot by the spiders. I think the spiders are the most annoying aspect of this fight, but it is a different fight, and I think they did it justice. I think this boss is exactly what they wanted it to be. So, for that, B tier. Martyr Ligarius, one of the coolest optional bosses of the game. I'm going to put him at a solid A. He's cool. Starts off in mage form, gets pissed, goes to melee form. Very unique. The whole area of Canehurst is very cool in general. Easy A tier. Dark Beast Parl. I don't like this boss a lot myself. I think it's a well-done boss for what it is. The long, lanky legs that you have to hit are a little bit annoying to hit, but that's the point. And then once you get it down, it's kind of a chain stagger city. You don't see a lot of lightning bosses in this game other than, like, Orphan of Cause. I'm going to put him at B tier. He's fun. He's fine. And now we are into Demon's Souls, the most recent game that I have picked up. I didn't play the original. So let's get into what I think here. Old Monk. I am going to go and put this one in B tier, only because I've only fought the NPC version. And while we're at it, where is Half-Light? Because they're basically the same exact thing. So I am going to put both of them at B tier. Half-Light and Old Monk, they both are NPC boss, or not NPC, but player boss fights. Somebody can get summoned in to be the boss for the game. I think that's fine. It's a fun time, depending on how active the PvP scene is. Right now, I don't have PlayStation Plus, and I don't plan on getting PlayStation Plus to PvP. Also, there's only like 10 people in the US that have a PS5, so I don't want to play against those tryhards anyway. Moving on! Adjudicator. Visually, very striking boss. Mechanically, very boring. He's a C tier. Once you figure out the gimmick, there's virtually no threat. It's just waiting. Doing circles around him, hitting his wound, hitting the bird, wash, rinse, repeat. Very boring. Old Hero. Very interesting gimmick. I'm going to put it at A tier just because I like the aesthetic of the boss. It is actually very threatening, and figuring out the gimmick, this is one of the harder gimmicks to actually get figured out, and I feel like it is actually one of the harder gimmicks to continually execute properly. Thief's Ring helps out significantly, but I still feel like there is that level of threat even once you understand this boss completely. Storm King. I'm going to put this one at S tier. I love this encounter. I think this encounter is extremely well done, and it really caps off that entire area. That whole area, you're getting harassed by stingrays like you're the fucking Irwin kids, and their dad is being harassed by stingrays off in the distance. You know what I mean? It is a horrible, horrible experience that is capped off by the epic Storm encounter. Yes, another gimmick boss fight. Demon's Souls loves its gimmicks, but for the OG Storm Ruler fight, this one really hits the nail on the head. It really brings the whole area to a head perfectly, and I think it's very cinematically fun, and I like using this version of the Storm Ruler quite a bit. Leechmonger. Easy banish to the Shadow Realm. This boss does nothing for me. If you want to go to this area early, which why would you ever want to? Because the whole area should be banished to the Shadow Realm. They should have broke that Archstone instead of the 4th one, because this one is horrible. This whole area is just bad. Leechmonger is no exception. It's another one kind of like the One Reborn, where it's just a big mass of bullshit that flails around doing damage. This one can heal itself. If you go in early, it's going to be a DPS test you're not going to be able to break through easily. If you go in late, you just two-shot it. Fuck it. Get it out of there. Dirty Colossus. I actually like this boss a lot. It's going in B tier. I don't like the area that it's in, but I actually enjoy this boss. It's fairly easy, but it's charming. There's a lot of charm to something that has a bee cannon that shoots bees at you, like your Tommy boy trying to get out of a cop ticket. B tier for bees. Maiden Astraea. The fact that she's not the actual boss, I'm tempted to put her lower, but I enjoy NPC style fights. And thematically, this kind of caps off the area very well. I'm going to put her at A tier. I don't mind fighting Wilhelm or whatever, Jarl Vindland. It's not Wilhelm. Wilhelm, yeah. We'll talk about him later. But yeah, I think thematically it carries a lot of weight. I really was not expecting the dialogues and stuff. And it made me feel bad. It made me feel bad. Old King Allen. Allant is... Honestly, he's an A tier or an S tier boss as well, as you would expect from a cap to a game. Thematically and scene-wise, he is extremely well done. He's the one that brought the fog to this area. He is everything that you would want out of a boss. I think the only thing holding him back is the fact that it is an older game and the mechanics just aren't there for him to deal with a player with the remake's mobility. So, but theme-wise and moveset-wise, he's a lot of fun to fight. Easy S tier. Regular King Allen. He's a slug. I don't really consider this a boss, so I'm just gonna put it at C tier. For the lore-wise, it's cool that it's like, yeah, my demon was the guy that looks badass and regal and shit, but my true form has been reduced to sludge. That's neat, but it doesn't really do much as a boss itself. It's more of a lore piece, so C tier. Vanguard Demon. For a tutorial boss that's meant to one-shot you, it actually offers up quite a bit of challenge, and it is the OG Butt Slam Boy. Also in the remake, they made it so that whenever you smack this guy's butt cheeks, they jiggle, so I give him A for that cake. Phalanx. Or Phalanx, if you want to make it sound like a peen. This is a B tier. It's blatantly average in every way. It's kind of fun to fight. I don't mind fighting it. The little shield dudes popping off and coming at you, and you having to attack the core. It's fun. It's a good time. Tower Knight, also B tier. It's kind of like the One Reborn, but the centralized boss isn't complete fucking garbage. You have to go around and kill a bunch of archers. You don't have to, but you really should. And then you come and you actually fight a man, not a mass of flesh and limbs. And he's got a pretty decent moveset. He has some ranged moves. He has some shield slams. If you knock his legs too many times, he'll fall over, which if he falls on you, he will do damage. I'm glad that they added that. Yeah, he's just fun. Penetrator is an A tier. I find him harder than Old King Allant myself. He's got a more limited moveset, but I feel like the timing on him, it feels like a Dark Souls 2 boss. Dark Souls 2 like to play with attack timings a lot. This boss flows into that very well. Very well done. A tier. Armored Spider. I love this boss. This is an S tier boss for me. I think it's really, really cool. I was not expecting a boss this interesting at this point in the game. You start off in a very narrow tunnel. It's shooting stuff at you as you approach. Then once you get in close, it has a whole bunch of like melee moves that you can do. Then it oils the ground. You have to run back and wash, rinse, repeat. It's a fun fight. It keeps you engaged the entire time. Visually, it's very striking, especially in the remake. S tier for me. Flame Lurker. I am actually going to put... he's in between A and B tier. I'm going to put him at A tier, just because he is a very well done fight. Visually, I think he looks fine. A lot of people don't like how he looks in the remake. Moveset wise, it's fine. There's a lot of different variations that you can do with him. I have about as much trouble with him as I do Penetrator. My only issues on why I was thinking of maybe putting him B tier is his tracking is kind of garbage. He does have some issues with his AI, but other than that, solid. Very, very solid. Dragon God. Gimmick to the max. He's a stealth boss that you don't actually fight like a stealth. He's basically just a walking puzzle. Since he's not technically a boss, I'm going to put him at C tier. Visually, very striking, but he's basically just an area to walk through, so C tier. Fool's Idol, the OG Crystal Sage. This one, I feel some kind of way about just because of what it did to me on my first playthrough. I didn't know that you had to kill the mage dude. I found him. He was just up there doing shit. I talked to him. He's like, "Don't fuck with me. I'm doing nothing to you. Bye." I was like, "Okay, bud. That's fine." And then he talked some shit after I killed her and bugged my game out. So I think she's fun. She's a fine boss. Good mage style boss. It's hard to get good mage style bosses. So I will put her there. Now we're into Dark Souls, the one that most people got introduced to. This is probably going to be the one with the most banished to the Shadow Realms. I'm saying fuck it to my one per franchise thing. So yeah, Man-Eaters. Good intro to the DLC. Solid B tier boss. Not much else you can really say about it. They're fine. They're fun. They get the ball rolling real good. Not particularly difficult. Dark Son Gwyndolin. He is A tier in my opinion. He is what I like of a mage boss. Somebody, like, I know kiting and a lot of people find this fight to be very repetitive because you're just running down a hallway dodging spells. That's how a mage would fight, you fucks. Unless you wanted a spell sword boss, which we have plenty of those already. This is a true mage fight. I like it a lot. A tier. Plus, I like his design. Gwyndolin is a unique design. I dig it. Crossbreed Priscilla. S tier for Fuzzy Tail. Stray Demon. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull all of these boys together. Asylum Demon, Stray Demon, Demon Fire Sage. I don't even know how to rank these guys because they're all the same fucking thing. With the exception of Demon Fire Sage having maybe more moves? I don't even remember, honestly. So Asylum Demon being the OG, we will give a B tier. Then Stray Demon being a remake, we will give a C tier. And then Demon Fire Sage for being no reason to have it at all. They just wanted to throw another boss into the already lazy Lake of Fire area. Banish him to the Shadow Realm. Ceaseless. Gimmick fight. Not exactly fun. Not exactly hard. You don't actually have to fight him either. He's C tier. Nothing special. Centipede Demon. Kinda garbage. Forgettable. It's one of those bosses where if you are leveled properly once you get to this area, you're gonna kill it and you're gonna forget about it. There's nothing really to note about this. It forces you to fight on very thin platforms because of the lava. C tier. Bed of Chaos also gets banned to the Shadow Realm for a boss that was kind of like the Dragon God. This one actually poses a threat because you have to go through a changing gauntlet that will literally just crumble in front of you. It doesn't give you enough time to react, and on top of that, you have the tentacles from the Bed of Chaos flailing at you. Very unfair and unfun in almost every way. Banish it. Pinwheel, C tier. Underwhelming, mage fight. He kind of does what the Fool's Idol does with the clones and stuff, but at this point in the game, you're most likely going to one-shot him before any of the clones come out anyway. Gravelord Nito! How neato. I'm going to put him at B tier. He's one of the old ones. His fight is fine. I don't enjoy the fact that he's got a shit ton of skeleton mobs. I understand thematically that makes sense because he is the Lord of the Dead and would be like arch necromancer and shit. Doesn't make for a fun fight though. I think he would have been just fine if they would have upped his health a little bit and maybe given him a few more moves on his own. B tier. Seath the Scaleless, also B tier. It's a gimmick fight. Hit the crystal. Fight him. Very low threat, but thematically and visually very striking. He's fun. Sif the Great Grey Wolf. Everything good in Dark Souls hits a pinnacle with Sif. It's just a well-done fight. He is a lot of fun to fight. He looks very good. Who doesn't want to fight a big anime wolf with a giant sword? It's a good time. Easy S tier. Where is his master? Knight Artorias goes right up there with him because you can't separate the two. He needs his best boy. Yes, he does. But Knight Artorias, it's a good fight for the DLC. Probably the best fight of the DLC, in my opinion, which, given that the DLC is named after him, I would hope so. Very, very well done. Four Kings, B tier. I don't mind this boss. It's a DPS test. If you don't kill one fast enough, you'll get mobbed. If you kill them fast enough, fine. Closing the gap's the hard part. Other than that, it's fun. It's fine. Sanctuary Guardian. Didn't I already rank you? Didn't I already rank you? Where the fuck? Okay, get back in your spot, please. Black Dragon Calamite. He is the OG big dragon fight. And as such, I will give him the respect he deserves as an A tier. He is not S tier in my opinion. Most of the dragon fights are not S tier. He's good. A lot of the dragons in the later games have moves that are based off of his moveset. He does better than most of those dragon fights. So, Calamite, you done good, kid. You done good. And then Manus, Father of the Abyss. I do believe he deserves an S tier spot. He's very well done. He has a high degree of difficulty. If you go and get the pendant, I think the fight is actually significantly better with that moveset. You can dodge his dark spells, but I just think there's nothing cooler than a dude charging up a big dark blast of bullshit at you, and then you just and it bounces around you. Fucking chest bumping dark spells easily alone makes this an S tier boss. Holy shit, we still have so many more. Okay, moving on. Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, S tier. He is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, which I very well could be. I'm trying to think. I do believe he's the only NPC boss of the game, like true NPC. You could argue Ornstein is an NPC boss as well, but he doesn't behave like an NPC. He doesn't really either, but like size-wise, I guess is what I should say. This is the closest thing you're going to get to a boss that actually feels like you, basically. And I feel like that's a lot of fun to do. I like bosses that are the same size as you, especially when they're at the pinnacle of a game or the final boss. S tier. Taurus Demon, Bridge Boy. He's fine. I'm actually going to put him on C tier just because he is recycled later. Dark Souls 1 loves recycling its bosses into enemies later, so he can go to C tier. Bell Gargoyles. They also get recycled later, but I feel like as far as memorable fights go for Dark Souls 1, this is one of the like big memory fights that people go. So B tier for that, even if it is a gank fight. It's also the first one where you can get your first tail weapon. Love it. Moonlight Butterfly. I'm tempted to banish this one, but I will refrain just because it's not banish worthy. There's nothing really bullshit about it. It's just kind of boring. Capra Demon. That one can get banished. Small Arena. Dogs. Dark Souls dogs. And then on top of that, it's a recycled enemy for later in the game. It didn't need to be there. It really didn't. They could have done without it. Gaping Dragon gets the old C tier treatment. You can cut its tail off, get a weapon. Visually, I like the design, even if it does look like a big toothy coochie. Other than that, it's, again, a boring fight. It doesn't have that many moves. None of them are very threatening. C tier. Chaos Witch Quaylog. I give her a B tier for her probable cup size. She's a lot of fun. Fire attacks are cool. She's got a varied moveset. Actually, no, I'm going to put her at A tier. I think she's deserving of A tier. I think she's a well-done fight. And for being the antithesis to the Bell Gargoyles, I think she does the Bell fight better than the Gargoyles do. I think she's a lot of fun. And lore-wise, she's very interesting also. Iron Golem. I'll put him up here with the Tower Knights. Big iron boys that fall over when you smack them around too much. He's fun. Yeah, that's it. He's fun. Ornstein and Smo. So, gank fight with a twist, and the twist propels it up to A tier. It's not an S tier fight in my book, but it is a good fight. Only thing that this fight could have done better that could have brought it up to S tier for me is if they did anything to play off of each other's abilities whenever they're both fighting. I like the fact that if you down one, you get a super-powered version of the other, and there's basically like 2 different endings to this fight, and you'll get different weapons based on which one you let power up and which one you die or kill first. Does a lot of things very good. The only thing that's a little bullshit is the fact that it is a gang fight and they don't play off each other. And now Dark Souls 2. A lot of bosses in Dark Souls 2. A lot of lower tier bosses in Dark Souls 2. Even though it is my favorite game of the franchise, a lot of low tier bosses. Skeleton Lords. Blatantly average. I like the gimmick with killing them and then little skellies spawn from their ashes. That's kind of cool. It can make it so that if you go in and just waylay into the lords, you can get overwhelmed by the skellies after. That's neat, and I like that it's different skeletons depending on which lord you kill. Solid. Covetous Demon. Boring, low threats, Jabba the Hutt. We don't like Jabba. Mytha, the Baneful Queen. She goes B tier for me. I like the fact that there's kind of the poison gimmick with the area where if you burn the poison generating windmill, it will drain her area. She didn't need the heal off of the poison, I don't think. I think that makes the fight, if you don't choose to burn the windmill, a little too oppressive. She's a good mix of melee and magic. Unique moveset, unique design. I think she's well done. Smelter Demon. I honestly will give it A tier. It deserves that. It is a very well done fight. It's a very difficult fight. Only issue with it is the small arena that you fight it in. But other than that, very, very well done. What is not super well done is the Old Iron King. He is a C tier, and for being one of the great ones, that's disappointing. It's a boring fight. He kind of goes under the lava and pops up on different locations. He has Fire Breath. All of his moves are very slow and easy to dodge. The only thing that might get you is if he does clip you, you can fall into the lava because there's a big hole in the back of the arena. Also, his Kamehameha Laser Blast can be a little weird to time, but no threat, really. Boring, great one. For a great one, I expected better. Scorpioness Najka. She's okay. Blatantly average boss. Little mix of melee and magic. She's fine. That's all there is to it. She's just fine. Royal Rat Authority. That one gets banished to the Shadow Realm. This boss on its own would have been fine. It would have just been like a Sif clone, basically, without the sword. But the fact that it's got 3 or 4 dogs with it that will toxic you before the fight even starts, that's where I start having issues. That feels like bullshit. And for that, be gone! Prowling Magus in the Congregation. Okay, I guess. It's C tier. It didn't really need to be in the game. I don't feel like they needed this boss in the game. It doesn't really do anything. And for the area that it's in, it's a little weird. I don't know if they're praying to the giant spider or what exactly is going on, but it doesn't do anything for me. What does do something for me is Duke's Dear Freja. This is an A tier boss in my opinion. I'll put it up there with Quailog as spooters. It's just good. I like the double heads thing. I like its varied movesets. It's got range. It's got melee. The little spiders, honestly, throughout the fight don't bother me that much. I feel like they aren't threatening enough on their own to feel bullshit, but they are threatening enough if you don't pay attention to them to add an interesting mechanic, and I think the boss would be too easy without them. Solid A. Good job. Royal Rat Vanguard. This one, where is... So this one is going to go into C tier. It does the same thing as the Celestial Emissary, but it doesn't have that wow factor of one of them transforming. You just kind of got to kill rats until the Mohawk rat shows up and then fight them. There's honestly no real other way to do it. It's just a bunch of rats. It's okay, but low energy. Last Giant. I like the Last Giant a lot. For an first boss for most people, he's good. He's very solid. Your standard moveset's not a high degree of threat, but visually striking. Fun fight. Good for where he's at. The Rotten. The Rotten and the Old Giant are, like, right at the same level for me. They basically fill the exact same slot. Visually striking. Movesets that are fun to fight against, but not overly difficult. This one kind of has the added benefit where you can knock the arms off, but it is a great one, so I would expect a little bit more, so I'm going to keep it B tier just because it's a little disappointing. Dragon Riders. Do they have a solo Dragon Rider, or are they just lumping all of the Dragon? They do. Okay, so solo Dragon Rider, I'm going to put B. Big Iron Armor. Does big Iron Armor things. It's kind of neat, the fact that you have to raise the platforms up on the progress to get to him, or you have a potential of falling off. You can also cheese him into those drop-offs yourself. That's solid. Dragon Rider duo team can get banished to the Shadow Realm. Didn't need it. Wasn't necessary. Didn't add anything by having an Archer version. Bad. Looking Glass Knight. A tier. It's cool. Top of the tower. Lightning everywhere. Unique moveset. I like that the shield is actually a functioning shield and that you just tink off of it. I know a lot of people get frustrated with that. I like it. And the gimmick aspect of summoning in a potential invader into the fight if you take too long. I think that's cool. I think that's well done. I wish it worked better, but when it works, boy, is it satisfying. Demon of Song, aka Seaman of Dong. That's a C tier fight. It has virtually no threat. It just takes too long to do. Boring. Belstat, the Royal Aegis. As far as mainline bosses go, I'm going to go ahead and put him S tier. I enjoy this fight significantly. I feel like this is a very well-balanced fight for where it is in the game. I feel like it's a lot of fun. He has a lot of different moves that you need to take into consideration. He's the first boss where they start varying up those attack animations for you to kind of throw you off. Belstat does well. Guardian Dargan. C tier. Borderline banish. The only reason I'm not going to banish it is because it does bring some unique mechanics, but it is just a recycle of the dragons that you've been fighting throughout the game. This one just has some aerial moves that I think do add to it. Some of them are kind of bullshit, but I like it. Ancient Dargan. Optional boss. He's fine. He's got some bullshit stuff. Kind of boring overall. A lot of people find him super duper hard. I never really have. B tier. Just a fire dragon boy. Giant Lord. Now this is a quote-unquote recycle of the last giant that I can get behind just because I feel like they did enough to make it unique. So he goes A tier. He does better than the last giant. I like thematically how he looks and how he attacks. Well done. Plus having it in the dream world where you're kind of on a time crunch. Although that time crunch doesn't really mean much, it's good. Vendrick. Thematic-wise, he's a solid S. Boss-wise, he's a C. There's way too much build-up that you need to do to actually be able to do damage to him. And when you do go into the fight and fight him, you're just up his asshole the entire time. Literally. Like, getting all up in that stank. And he doesn't really have that many moves, and they all one-shot you. Almost. Depending on what your health's at that point. He's just not fun. He's just a slog. Throne Guardians. They are blatantly average gang fight. They really don't play off each other that much. They do have the revive mechanic. If you don't, like, chip them down in succession, they will revive the other. That's kind of neat. Other than that, they're blatantly average. They're no Ornstein and Smell. That is for sure. Pursuer. I think he's A tier. I enjoy the Pursuer. I liked in the Scholar of the First Sin remake that they made his ghost keep tracking you. I understand that I've shit on recycled bosses a lot so far. This is the only boss that makes sense to be recycled. He's the Pursuer. He pursues. A tier. Nashandra. C tier. She is a lazy, lazy final boss of the game. Her melee attacks do virtually nothing. Her ranged attacks do virtually nothing. She has curse orbs throughout the area so that you get cursed before you jump into the kiln, so you look like beef jerky god going into the kiln. Real annoying. Nashandra, you're C tier. I've killed her with poop. That's how low threat she is. Aldia, Scholar of the First Sin. He is B tier. There's not really too much to say about him. He just has like 3 or 4 maybe moves. He teleports around the arena. He has a firewall. They could have done a lot better with this fight, but he is at least a better final boss than what Nashandra is. Dark Lurker. A tier, borderline, and then I'm going to put him on S tier. I like the Dark Lurker a lot. I think the way they have the fight set up is very good. He's got very limited moves, but they are all very different in how you need to react to them. And then once you hit the certain point, he splits, and they both attack virtually at the same time. It's a very big build-up. You learn the movesets in Phase 1, and then you micromanage in Phase 2. I feel like with a gank fight, this one does it the best from Dark Souls 2. Speaking of gank fights, banish the Grave Robber, Varg, and Sarah to the Shadow Realm. They could have done a lot better than having a whatever this was. They could have actually put a boss down there instead of just 3 NPCs. Alana the Squalid Queen. I have a lot of things to say about her, and most of them are pretty negative. But as a boss, I do think she's A tier. She's got way too much health for what she is. She has the summon mechanic where she can either summon a group of Skellies or Velstadt. I think both of those are fun mechanics, and then she kind of teleports around shooting spells at you while you're dealing with what her summons. For a summoner style boss, I think it's fine. I think by that boss type's nature, it's going to be a little more on the anti-fun side, but I think this isn't as anti-fun as it could have been. So, I give it. Sin the Slumbering Dragon is B tier. If Kalameet is A tier, I cannot put him up there with Kalameet. I feel like Kalameet does the dragon job better, especially considering this one tends to want to sit up high and snipe at you, and doesn't give you enough opportunity to actually do damage to him, depending on how the RNG wants to go. B tier. Other Smelter Demon. They didn't specify which one was which, so we're just going to assume the one I have up in A tier is the red Smelter Demon, and then C tier boy is blue Smelter Demon. There's so much bullshit with this fight. I'm not going to banish it to the Shadow Realm because it doesn't deserve that. It's a recycled boss. They changed the mechanics up of it enough that it is unique to it. They changed the attack timings. They changed its cycle of moves and how it buffs itself. It's more unique in that regard, but it's a very bullshit fight. C tier. Fume Knight. This is the pinnacle of Dark Souls 2 boss fights. Easy S tier. I don't think I really need to say much more. It's got difficulty, it's got variation. He's got 2 different stances. If you go in with Velstad's armor, he goes straight into second form. It is just a very, very well done fight on all fronts, thematics and execution. Well done. Bravo. Sir Alone. This one is also going to be an S tier for me. It just feels like a badass duel. It just feels like you're really going to town with a samurai master. He's got very good variation in his moves. The setting is nice. The arena's wide enough that you don't feel claustrophobic. S tier. Nadalia, Bride of Ash. Why is she even here? Because she's not a boss. Banish it. Off of my tier list. Ava, the King's Pet. So this is Gimmick Boss, but not Gimmick Boss. It forces you to go through the area. I'm sure you can fight it invisible, but I don't really want to. Looks-wise, it's nice. I like it. It's fun. A tier. Easy. Lud and Zalen, the King's Pets. This is B. No, I'm gonna put it C tier. It's got less, like, each one of them independently have less health than Ava. Also, the area running up to it is the worst area in Dark Souls 2. It's probably one of the worst run-ups in Dark Souls 2. And then it is a gank fight again, so if you don't kill the first one fast enough, the second one jumps in. They could have done something more unique. I would have liked a giant, like, Norse-style reindeer fight or something, since it's Reindeer Fuck Valley. Asana, the Silent Oracle, she can get banished because she's not really a boss. I don't get why they keep adding these. The Burnt Ivory King. You don't get much better of a thematic fight than what this is. Gather up your army. Go to war against the chaos. That is what this fight is, and it does it so good. Keep your boys alive. They close the gates, and then the big boy comes in and he's like, "Sup, motherfucker." Good fight. Well done. Old Dragon Slayer. It doesn't do anything for me. Ornstein, it just goes to show that the Ornstein and Smo mechanics needed the gank aspect to be a threat. Old Dragon Slayer is basically just straight up Ornstein, maybe a little bit slower and clumsier with some dark spells. C tier. Doesn't do anything for me. Flexile Sentries. I'm going to put them B tier. They do get recycled later if you play the Scholar of the First Sin version, but I think the sword to club variation and the fact that the area is slowly building up with water and will slow you down as the fight progresses is neat enough. It's a good fight. B tier. Ruined Sentinels. C tier. A triple gank. They don't play off each other. Kind of boring. C tier. Not much to say. Belfry Gargoyles. Just trying to steal the Dark Souls 1 gargoyle's dick. I don't know. This fight sucks. It's just bad. They throw too many at you. It doesn't have the charm that the original gargoyle fight had. It just feels like they're throwing a bunch of mobs at you and hoping that they overwhelm you. It doesn't feel good. At least with the Dark Souls 1 gargoyle fight, one would tend to stay back and shoot fire at you while the other was going melee. This one, they all just kind of gank your ass. Lost Sinner. I thoroughly enjoyed the Lost Sinner, and it is going up to an A tier for me. This is probably the best Old One fight of the main game. The fact that you have the gimmick with the darkness where it makes it harder to lock on. You can light up the torches if you don't want to. You can fight it the other way. Just very, very well done. Executioner's Chariot is B tier. It's fine. I don't have any issues with it. Circles the area. Gotta close the door and then fight some horses. It's neat. I give it points for being neat and unique. And now we're into Dark Souls 3. Probably one of the most solid of the boss fight catalogs besides maybe Bloodborne. Aldrich, Devourer of Gods. A very, very well done mage fight. He goes A tier. The only thing that I think could keep him from S tier is his stage 2 rain of arrows that tracks you. That, combined with him doing any other variation of spells, makes it very, very difficult for you to actually do anything. So there's a little bit of bullshit factor that's keeping him out of S tier. Well done otherwise. Yharnam. I have a video that I want to make later on him versus the Storm Kings. As you can see here, I'm going to be ranking him blatantly average. I want to go into a deeper fight on the Storm Ruler fights specifically, but I feel like this fight is average in every regard. He's a giant. We fought giants before. There's a gimmick fight aspect to it. It's fine. Dancer of the Boiro Valley. I'm going to rank this one S tier. This boss gave me the most struggle bus out of most of the main game bosses for a very long time. And I feel like that is because of the cadence of the fight being so unique, the way she moves being so unique. They just did very, very well in making a difficult but pleasing fight. Like, nothing felt bullshit about this fight. It just felt like I wasn't learning enough. So, easy S tier on her. Oseros, the Consumed King. He's fine. B tier for the boy king. 2 phases. One where he beats you with your stick like you're Luke and he's Yoda in episode 2 or 4 or 6 or... No, it's actually episode 5. Fuck me. Sorry, Star Wars fans. But, yeah, it's cool. Thematically and lore-wise, very important fight with the invisible baby. The second phase doesn't really do anything for me. I wish he would have went more like God Dragon King, like make the wings really pop out. He like starts floating around doing like mage shit instead of him just going feral. I think that would have been a better direction for me. It's okay though. Champion Gundyr. Let's start with Eudex Gundyr first. Eudex Gundyr is probably the best tutorial boss that I think the games have made. He is the most difficult tutorial boss for sure, but Eudex Gundyr is just a good fight and a good introduction to the game and getting used to the mechanics. You can parry him, so if you want to practice parries, that's good. He has a pretty decent moveset. He also has a second form that is unique and will kind of teach you that there are elemental weaknesses. If you decide you want to hit him with fire, that will make it perfectly obvious. He's a good intro into the mechanics of the game, and I feel like he's a get good moment right off the bat that will really let people know whether these kinds of games are for them or not. And then Champion Gundyr takes it up a notch. This is the first recycle boss. I'm actually going to put them on the same tier. I feel like Champion Gundyr is just so well done to make the boss that you fight at the beginning of the game, you go back in time and you fight him in his prime. Very, very well done. My only issue keeping him from S tier is he's got the parry thing where you can just bully him. So, I don't know. I ranked Gale or Gwen up here. Did I rank Gwen up here? There's so many bosses. Yeah, I ranked Gwen up here. He can kind of be parried the same way, but I don't know. I don't feel like Gundyr has enough going for him to make that weakness not be a thing. So A tier for him. Dragon Slayer Armoire. This is an A tier fight for me. I honestly think Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne have some of the best boss catalogs out of the series. Dragon Slayer Armor is just a very fun fight. I wish they wouldn't have had the butterflies. The butterflies are probably keeping him from S tier. I feel like them doing spells doesn't add a lot for me. I wish they could have like upped his moveset so that he himself was more of a threat than like random stuff off the side that you're not really paying attention to. The Princes of Lothric. This is a gank fight, technically, and a very well done gank fight. I'm actually going to put them in S tier. There's a cheese method for this fight. That's fine. If you don't want to do the cheese method, this fight is so good. It's basically a big tag team duel between you and a greatsword user and a mage. It's so well done, so thematically good. Everything about the fight is perfect. And honestly, where it is put in the game, I wish this would have been the final boss. Soul of Cinder is fine, and I will get to that in a minute. But I enjoy this fight more than probably any other boss in the main game. Ancient Wyvern, banish it to the Shadow Realm. It had no purpose other than to be a little gauntlet challenge. And honestly, for the gauntlet challenges, it's one of the better ones, but it didn't need to be a boss. It really didn't. We've seen so many of these wyverns throughout the game, we didn't need one as a boss. Nameless King goes S tier. Again, a very visually striking fight. The two phases are very, very distinct from each other, with the dragon phase and then the Nameless King fight itself. It's perfect. This is honestly the perfect boss, and the fact that it's a side boss, I think is fine. It's a difficult boss, probably the most difficult in the base game. It's not going to scare people off, but it's also going to give people a challenge that want to go look for it. Very well done. Soul of Cinder. I'm going to give it S tier as well, just because it is the cap of the base game, and it does do well. It's got variations on stages. Some of the stages are a bit more bullshit than others. I don't really like the scimitar phase. Other ones are fine, and then after you get it so low, it goes to a second health bar where it goes full Gwyn, Lord of Cinder on your ass. Basically has his exact same moveset with some added spells and stuff thrown in. Very, very well done. A lot of people think they could have done more. I think he visually should have shifted during the changes. I think that would have made a lot of people happier. Also, the fact that he's on the cover of the game, a lot of people didn't like that, but fuck him. Champion Gravetender. Okay, we're getting into the DLCs, and for the first DLC, there was only 2 bosses. Very disappointing, especially since Champion Gravetender was one of them. It's blatantly average in every way. So you have the wolves that start off the fights. They're not really a threat. You can pick them off before the Gravetender actually gets up to you. He uses Valor Heart, one of the most bullshit weapons in the game. And then once you get so low, he summons in a giant doggo. The doggo itself is really cool. It's probably the redeeming factor that keeps this fight from being C tier. I enjoy fighting the dog. It's not exactly a fun fight if you can't kill the Gravetender before the dog really gets amped up and going, but I think the dog's moveset is really good. And the dog has 2 phases too, where it goes into an enraged form once you get its health so low. The dog saves this fight. B tier. Black Flame Frida. It's making sure that they didn't have any other variations of Frida. This one's an S tier. This one is an easy S tier. First 3 stage boss fight with a kind of gimmick stage, or not gimmick, but a gank fight stage 2. But I feel like the gank fight aspect of this is done better than any other gank fight in the Souls games. They actually play off each other. Once you get the health, because they have a joint health bar, once you get the health so low, she'll back off and start healing. She launches ice attacks as Ariandel rushes you with his soup bowl. And then, after you beat them, you get the full Dark Flame anime showdown to cap off the DLC. I feel like this fight alone makes the first DLC worth it. DLC 1 was a disappointment in many ways. This fight was not one of them. S tier. Dragon or Demon Princes. So I'm actually going to put this one in A tier. I'm half tempted to put it S tier because I think it is a very well done fight. But the S tier, I feel like the ones that I've got up in S tier right now do stuff a little bit better. It is another gank fight at the beginning, where they do play off each other. One is going to be unignited, one is going to be ignited, which makes it so that one stays back and is launching poison attacks, the other one's coming at you with melee attacks. There's two different ones. They have a different version of the final form, depending on which one you kill, which has varying movesets. I think that is really neat. Honestly, yeah, I'm actually going to move this one up to S tier. Thinking on all of the things that this boss does, it really doesn't have any downsides. There's not a huge amount of bullshit factor. The only issue I think I have with it is just the amount of health that it has and how long it takes for the fight to go, but it's not a bullshit fight. It really isn't. It's actually really, really good. So S tier for the Demon Prince. Slave of Night Gale. If any boss could get an S++, this one would be him. Capping off the series, the trilogy of the series of the Dark of the Souls. He's the perfect send-off. It's you and another Hollow going to town at the end of the world to gain the Dark Soul. It's glorious. The feral form into the winged form into the enraged form. It's just all so good, dude. And it's just a perfect way to send off the series. If they never made another one, this would be how I would want people to remember this series, is the Slave Night Gale fight. So good. And then Dark Eater Midir. I'm going to put it at S tier as well. This whole DLC gets S tier. It is way, way, way too good. Except for Half-Life, because it is what it is. Dark Eater Midir is the top tier of dragon fights. It takes everything that Calamite did and everything that Sin, the Slumbering Dragon, did, combines them into one massive ball of dragony goodness. Yes, this is Dragon Balls in a boss. I love it. It's very well done. A lot of people think it has too much health, it does too much damage. Everything is very readable. You just gotta learn the boss. It's a great optional boss. And again, if anything is to be remembered about the Souls series, this is the optional boss I would want the game to be remembered by. S tier. We got a few of the other main line bosses. We'll kind of rapid fire these ones out because none of them are particularly special. Vort is just a big guy with a club. He's fine. B tier. Curse Rotted Greatwood. Thematically, it's okay. I'm actually going to put it C tier. It's kind of pointless. Not necessarily pointless because you can get boss weapons from killing it, but it's kind of a slog to fight. It's not the worst of the C tiers, but it is not the best. Crystal Sage, C tier. It's could have been done better. I'm colorblind, so I can't tell the difference between them, so fuck this boss. C tier. Deacons of the Deep, I'm actually going to put on B tier. I enjoy this boss a lot, and I think out of the gimmick fights the Dark Souls 3 brought out, this one was executed the best. I like the transferring soul from one thing to another, and then it all going into an undead pope. I think that's cool. Undead Legion of Farron, that's an A tier. The boss is too easy, doesn't have enough health, but I like the warring, like the Abyss war going on within the Legion, where they will actually raise up and fight each other. I think that's neat. And then the final fight with the inflamed version is just well done. I just think it's a bit too squish. Highlord Vulner is C tier. Interesting gimmick, but once you figure it out, it's kind of boring, and there's a few bullshit things like with the Vape Nation moves, or just that fog in general one-shotting you if you get too close. It does way too much damage. So, C tier there. Old Demon King, they could have done worse, but they could have done better. It's not Vulner level. I think this boss is fine. You can fight it at any point in the game, so depending on when you fight it will depend on how difficult it is. You can fight it before Vulner or anywhere. It's an optional fight, so it's okay. I wish for the demon fight of this game they would have done something better, but since we got the Demon Prince fight in the DLC, that's okay. Demon Prince could have honestly been in that area, and it would have blown everybody away, 100%. And then Pontiff Sullivan, he's going S tier. As the get good moment of Dark Souls 3, I feel like this boss is the culmination of everything cool that you can do with boss design in a game. I like the clone aspect of him where you kind of have to deal with that. You can kill that off. I like that he is an aggressive sword user that has mage attacks. He's the best spell sword in the game, and he deserves better. I think he could have been even better if they would have increased his stats a little bit, increased his moveset a little bit, and put him later into the game, if not the final boss in place of Soul of Cinder. My personal opinion. And then we've got Sekiro. I'm just going to rapid fire these. Actually, no, we're not. You know what? We're going to do the Sekiro video for another day, because I feel like I could go into a lot more detail with these bosses, but, and it's not technically a Soulsborne game, so yeah. This is my tier list. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video. Let me give you a little once over for anybody that just wants to click to the end to see how I ranked things. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you guys like Soulsborne content, we do content on this channel. One video every day. Also, we stream nightly, 10:30 Eastern on my Twitch channel, Billy_the_Squid. Hope to see you guys there, and thank you all for sticking around through this video. This is going to be a long one, but I hope it was worth it. Much love, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.